Hello, Blunt Truth, and you're looking at my Azulas right now because, as you might have guessed from the title of the vid, I have convexed the edges on both of them, and I'm very happy with the results. I really am a big believer in convex edges and the benefits of having a convexed edge. This is one of my three-part series things because I can't seem to get anything done in 10 minutes. Well, there's one thing I can get done in 10 minutes, which is probably one of the reasons why I'm divorced right now. But I can't do videos to talk about something in 10 minutes, and there's a lot here. So in part one, we're going to talk about what makes a good knife to convex and why you would want to convex. Part two, I'm going to show you how to convex a beveled edge knife. Part three is about stropping and my new stropping method and sharpening a convexed edge by stropping. Convexed edges are not sharpened on hones, as most of you know. You have to strop them to sharpness, either with fine sandpaper or a leather strop. So I had to improve my stropping methods dramatically in order to get a good edge on my convex knives. And I've made a lot of improvements. If you want to just see that, watch part 3 and that'll do all that. But if you want to see how to convex a knife and why you should convex a knife and what makes a good knife to convex, then watch all 3, please. And if you're having trouble sleeping, watch all 3, and before you get to part 3 you'll probably be fast asleep. Good night. Now, when I did this, I experimented with lots of different knives, convexing all different hollow grinds, flat grinds. And the thing that's the most important thing, well, you really need to do it with a flat grind, for one thing. It doesn't work well with hollow grinds. And you need thickness. In order to get this curvature at the edge so that it blends, over from the flat grind smoothly with no edge where that coating ends. There's no angled edge. It's a smooth transition to the very tip edge. In order to do that, you need a lot of thickness right behind the edge so that you can get that shape. And the Azulas are perfect candidates for that because they go from 4 millimeters at the spine right down to the edge in 1 inch. So they're really thick right here. So these are perfect. They work perfect for convexing. Most knives don't. It's kind of hard to find one that's thick right there for it. I have a few, but these two came out perfect, in my opinion. Now I'm going to switch out of macro and we'll talk about why convex, why do it. Okay, I'm going to play school teacher at the blackboard for a minute here, a few minutes. Let's pretend this is a cross-cut drawing of the Azula before and after. You might look at it and think this isn't going to cut as well as that because this seems to come to more of a point. But when you think about it, when you're cutting into a material, whatever it is, whether it be a tomato or wood or rope or whatever, what parts the fibers of the material you're cutting is only this tiny little section right there, the very edge of the edge. All of this is not needed. Actually, it hinders cutting because it just forms a wedge. So this can get just as sharp as this right up here at the tip. If you strop it correctly, if you sharpen it right, you can get it just as sharp and it will cut just as well. Better on a lot of materials because the material will part away from the blade easier instead of wedging in along this section of the bevel. And so really, even though it appears blunter, it can be just as sharp. And one of the big benefits of convex edges is you have a lot of material backing up your edge. Right here, it's thicker right behind the edge. So where this one, when you cut into something, it can roll over, flatten out, chip out. It's just you have a thinner, weaker little edge triangle here, which can be deformed in many ways. Where here, it's a little thicker triangle that still comes to a sharp point, but you got it backed up on both sides by more metal, so this isn't going to roll over easily. It isn't going to flatten out as easy because the particles of metal have nowhere to go. So it's not going to flatten out easy. It's not going to chip out easy. There's a lot stronger tip. So it'll give you better edge retention, less likelihood of chipping and rollover and denting and everything. It'll last longer than this. Now if you cut this down to a very acute bevel, like 12 degrees or something, yes, you probably will get a better cutting tip. But then you're also going to lose your edge much faster. So comparing the two being about the same angle right here, this will last much longer at the edge. So that's one benefit of convexing. Another benefit is that my favorite benefit is that you can keep it at an extremely sharp level very easily, because all you do is strop it to sharpness. You don't have to, use a hone and then go to a strop and so on to keep it sharp. So if you're like me and you like to keep your knives scalpel sharp, even if you just use them a little bit, then you want to bring it right back to perfect. With this, all I have to do at the end of the day is run it on the strop a few times. I'm right back to paracord popping perfection. If I want to bring this back to perfect, I got to clamp it in my Gatco, because that's how I do it. Grind off a little metal from both sides of the bevel and then strop it up to perfection. A longer process for sure. So, and I can strop this in the field. Just carry a little strop and sharpen it right in the field. Carry it in my pack and do it anywhere I go. So I'm not carrying a hone and strop and a bunch of other stuff to keep it perfect. So those are the big benefits. I really like the idea of stropping it to sharpness without using the whole hone method. And it does last longer edge. The edge does last longer. I know that for a fact from my use of both the Azula before and after and using my Bravo. Now when you do it, when you convex the edge, it's not as simple as just rounding off this corner. You can't just like round away this corner and think you have a convex edge. It might appear that way to the naked eye, but you really just created a micro bevel right here. You still have a bevel. You're not going to get the benefit of having the edge support right here backing up this tip edge. You have to grind away the whole tip, the whole edge, right like that, so it's a smooth transition up to the edge. So when you start out doing the conversion, your knife's going to get duller. It's going to seem like you're dulling the knife because you're taking off the whole tip, and it will seem duller until you get to the honing process with the strop. The stropping process with the leather strop. Now when I strop, I don't do it. I've watched lots of videos and read lots of things about stropping, and I kind of have a little variation of my own on it that works for me. And I'm not saying it's the right way, but this is what works for me. I don't do it the way other people are doing it. Most people are just doing it like having the strop go at an angle like this, hitting the edge in this whole section like this, all in one angle, holding it at one angle, stropping it on both sides, and it works. But what I find works better for me is using a lot of pressure, well not a lot, but a lot more than on the second step, and hitting it right here, hitting the edge, but holding it at a very shallow angle, hitting this section. And then after I hit that like this a few times on both sides, I held it at almost a 45-degree angle, or like 35 degrees, and hit just the tip right here. So the strop is like this. Just the tip with extremely light pressure. Not even the weight of the blade. Extremely light pressure, only going once each direction, once each way with the strop. Very, very lightly. Just finish up. And that gives me a scalpel edge right there at the tip. So I'm going to show you that in part 3. This is the end of talking about why convex and what knives to convex. Remember, you need a lot of thickness in the blade in order to do this correctly, to have a really true convex edge. Okay, watch part 2. and 3 if you can get through it. Thanks. Bye.